Hey guys, it's Phil with GOA. Please like and subscribe to this video and make sure to check out our Instagram page at The Minuteman Moment. So a few months ago, the Gun Owners of America said that the ATF has a gun registry. Then we, along with Congressman Michael Cloud, got the ATF to admit to Congress that it maintains nearly 1 billion gun and gun owner records. But in a time where all information is essentially controlled by a few outlets, it's easy for them to practically alter our state of reality by denying the very existence of what we all know to be so. Let me give you an example. After the ATF admitted that it had this billion gun and gun owner registry, the very discredited paper called USA Today teamed up with Facebook to fact-check our claim that those billion records constituted a gun registry. The reason these two heels teamed up was to censor this news, which had been dominating the headlines for over 2 weeks. It all started with a simple Facebook post from Gun Owners of America. Not only has GOA been reporting on this, members of Congress have been talking about it, and like I said, it had been the top of the headlines for at least 2 weeks. And the ATF admitted that basically we were right. But like any piece of information that doesn't please the regime, the independent fact checkers say this information could mislead people because it has missing context. But here's the best part. We broke down USA Today's claims that our post was missing context, and we found 11 false statements and 8 statements that are missing context themselves. So if you were to just read the statement by Facebook and USA Today, you might think there was no searchable federal database or registry of guns and gun owners, and that maybe the ATF only had a few 100,000 records. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not right. As my colleague Aiden Johnston said in an article that he just wrote, it's an objective fact that ATF admitted to lawmakers that it's currently maintaining a searchable database of nearly 1 billion firearm transaction records, which includes personally identifying gun owner information. So here's the rundown of what the fake fact checker said and how we responded. Number 1, ATF's out-of-business records do not constitute a searchable database. So the out-of-business records are digitized, then scanned into a centralized computer. And that's not a searchable database? These records are collected and maintained in an organized format, both digitally and physically, at the ATF's out-of-business records center. ATF then uses this registry to conduct what it calls record search requests to identify personally identifying information to search for guns used in crimes. So let me get this straight. How can USA Today and Facebook say there's no searchable database, while at the same time, the ATF says they use this dirty database to search for guns used in crimes? It's a contradiction that's kind of difficult to move past. False claim number 2. The ATF records do not constitute a prohibited registry. The argument that USA Today and Facebook use to back up this claim is that since federal law prohibits a national gun registry, therefore the ATF searchable database can't be a gun registry. Stuff like this is actually why I'm pretty optimistic about the future of gun rights. These are the people we're going up against. They are total clowns. There's also the little matter that ATF has been cited for violating federal prohibitions on creating a centralized database as recently as 2016. But what about the missing context I was talking about? Well, let's start here. That the ATF only has hundreds of thousands of records, not close to 1 billion. This was hard to believe, but the fake fact checkers say that the ATF only has hundreds of thousands of records. I'm going to quote directly from an ATF document. In total, ATF manages 920,664,765 out-of-business records as of November 2021. This includes digital and an estimated number of hard copy records that are awaiting image conversion. It's currently estimated that 865,787,086 of those records are in digitized format. But the missing context doesn't end there. The paper also claims that the ATF database only includes guns used in crimes. While the database does include guns used in crimes, it also includes hundreds of millions of guns that were never used in crime and many tens of millions of gun owners who have never committed a crime at all. So whether you want to call that missing context or good old-fashioned lying is fine by me. Point is, they're not giving you the whole truth. Moving on. USA Today quotes an old fact sheet from the NRA saying there is no universal gun registration. The truth is that the NRA has recently said that the ATF's out-of-business database is understandably concerning and that the records maintained by the ATF could facilitate gun confiscation. So not only is USA Today using NRA's old data, but it's kind of ironic that after years of hammering the NRA, they suddenly love to quote them when it suits their bias. And rounding us out, USA Today says the ATF records can only be accessed during criminal investigations. The truth is that ATF provides a process by which a private citizen needing to obtain the serial number of a stolen firearm purchased from an FFL, which has since discontinued business, can get that serial number. The ATF also assumes all trace requests by state police are part of a criminal investigation. In other words, the ATF doesn't authenticate what are trace requests for criminal investigations or some other purpose. So no surprise there, USA Today's claim is lacking context. And that's it. That's the list. If you regularly watch this channel, you'll know that I'm really optimistic about the future of gun rights and liberty in this country in general. Why? Well, not only was it obvious and easy for Aiden over at GOA to debunk this article, but the people we're up against are not exactly the best and brightest. They're kind of like an inbred monarchy that have their station because they rode on the coattails of previous generations. But today's corporate press is weak, reactionary, and morally bankrupt. Last thing is that even though big tech and social media platforms do censor us, there are still ways for us to get the message out. And as long as we're around, getting the message to you and elected representatives will be our goal.